It's called to order. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we proceed with the meeting, I don't know if you noticed out in the hallway, yesterday we lost one of our city council people, Virginia Williams. So at this time, we would like to offer our condolences to the family because of her passing. And I would now like to ask for a moment of silence. Thank you.
Item 2, roll call. Mr. Frederick?
Present.
Mr. Gladfelty?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Jemison?
Yes.
Mr. Krova?
Yes.
Ms. Freitag?
Yes.
I am here, and Mr. Boboade is excused. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 3 is approval of the agenda.
So move, Madam Chair. Support.
Who seconded you? You?
I approve.
Okay, yeah. I have a motion for Mr. Gladfelty, supported by, excuse me, Mr. Frederick, to approve the agenda before us. Any discussion? Mr. Frederick?
Mr. Gladfelter. You made the motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. You look alike.
Yeah, we do.
Mr. Gladfelty?
Yes.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Mr. Krova?
Yes.
Mr. McAnally?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Ms. Jamison?
Yes.
Chair votes yes. The agenda is approved. Item 4 is approval of the minutes of the regular Planning Commission meeting held on November 18th, 2024.
So moved.
Support.
Who supported it?
Mr. Long.
Ms. Long, okay. I have a motion for Mr. McAnally, supported by Mr. Long, to approve the minutes as presented. Any discussion? No. Mr. McAnally,
Yes.
Mr. Long,
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe,
Yes.
Ms. Jamison,
Abstain.
Mr. Gladfelty,
Yes.
Mr. Frederick,
Yes.
Mr. Krova.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, the minutes are approved. Next, we have comments from the public on non-agenda items. Is anyone here that wishes to speak on something that's not on our agenda? We will move right along. Item 6 is public hearings. We have no public hearings. Item 7 is old business, and we have RZ 2024-001, SLU 2024-002, and SPR 2023-029, Pilot Travel Center, asking for conditional rezoning, special land use, and site plan approval at 10250 Vining Road. Petitioner, so you going to speak?
Good evening again.
Hey, good evening, Brad.
Hopefully we're able to answer all the questions that you guys have put forward so far in these previous hearings, and definitely appreciate the opportunity to come back and answer those questions so that we can make sure that we have a project that is beneficial to everyone. I think at the last hearing, I may be a little bit out of order here, we never had the engineer and the planning reports read into the record. I would like to request that happen either now or at the end. What's your pleasure on that?
It's up to you. Pardon me? Sure.
Additional rezoning based on the comments in the CWA following a public hearing held on September 16th, the planning commission. Planning commission. Hello?
There we go.
Conditional rezoning and conditional rezoning agreement. Based on the comments found in the CWA report dated September 9, 2024, following a public hearing on September 16th, the planning commission could consider recommending approval of the conditional rezoning request to the city council based on the following findings. The applicant proposes, sorry, I didn't bring my glasses. The applicant proposes a conditional rezoning from M2 General Industrial to MT Industrial Transportation to allow for a truck stop. The subject site is currently vacant land that was used by the city of Romulus as a public works facility. The surrounding properties are zoned and used for high-intensity industrial purposes and airport-related uses, including the Norfolk Southern Railroad that borders the northern edge of the subject site. While not an industrial use, a truck stop at this location would be well buffered by high-intensity land uses that would have minimal impact to residential uses. To help address the issue of some spot zoning, the applicant has provided a draft conditional rezoning agreement that limits the use of the site based on the rezoning agreement and site plan, thus limiting possible inconsistencies with adjacent properties. While the future land use map is not in compliance with the proposed rezoning, the proposed travel center truck stop use has similar impacts as those described in the text of the master plan's general industrial designation. Further, the applicant is limiting the use of the site based on the rezoning agreement and site plan. Based on the plans provided as part of the proposed conditional rezoning, we find that while the site is to be mass graded, existing wetlands on site as well as existing trees in association with these wetlands will be preserved. We do not find that this development would have any additional environmental impacts than a similar development proposed under the existing zoning designation. Through a conditional rezoning agreement, the applicant is proposed to limit the use of the site based on the rezoning agreement and site plan. The applicant must address conditions of the TIS to the satisfaction of the city engineer. The applicant indicates that this development will draw truck traffic from other parts of the city to a concentrated location. If the planning commission finds that conditional rezoning request is warranted, the following motion could be considered. To recommend to city council approval of the conditional rezoning request, RZ 2024-001, pilot travel center to rezone 25.53 acres located at 10250 Vine Road, subject to conditional rezoning agreement dated September 9, 2024, or as amended, special land use approval, and site plan approval subject to a revised site plan addressing all outstanding comments as noted in the planning commission and other agencies and departments. Am I reading all three of them?
What were the other ones?
Am I reading all three of them? That was the conditional rezoning. Am I reading all three into the
Oh,
record?
special land use, you want us to read all three of them?
Okay. Special land use. Based on the comments found in the CWA report dated November 8, 2024, the Planning Commission may consider recommending approval of the special land use request to the City Council based on the following findings. While the master plan's future land use map is not in conformance with a truck stop use, the text of the general industrial designation would seem to support a more intense truck stop type use. A draft conditional rezoning agreement has been provided that limits some of the more intensive uses that are permitted by right in the MT zoning district that will help maintain the intensity of the zoning district. With regard to adjacent land uses, we, as in Carlisle Wortman, believe the site as planned will be compatible with the adjacent uses based on new information provided by the applicant with respect to emissions and noise. The applicant has provided a traffic study. The study indicates that the proposed truck stop will have only minimal impacts on the level of service of the adjacent roadways. The applicant's updated narrative outlines the other adjacent industrial uses and existing intensity of use, indicating the subject will be no more impactful than the existing uses. The subject site found within a rather intensive industrial area, including Metro Airport. The site is to be served by city water and sanitation services. If the planning commission finds a special land use request is warranted, the following motion could be considered. To recommend to city council approval of the special land use request SLU 2024-002 Pilot Travel Center subject to city council approval of the conditional rezoning and associated conditional rezoning agreement dated September 9, 2024, or as amended, waivers from the following: Section 11.07, truck stop access drives to allow 2 driveways. Section 11.07B5, truck stop access drives to allow the south driveway to be wider than 30 feet, conditioned of the driveways then being narrowed as recommended by OHM. Section 13.04G, sidewalk and non-motorized pathways to allow payment in lieu of construction of approximately 875 foot of sidewalk along the northern portion of Vining Road in the amount of $65,625 minus the estimate of the off-site improvements at Goddard Road as reviewed and approved by the city engineer, in return for the applicant's installation of pedestrian facilities up to a crossing at Goddard Road and connecting the site. And section 13.02C, greenbelt landscaping adjacent to the street frontage to waive 3 to 4 foot berm along the northern portion of Vining Road due to the county drain. Site plan approval subject to a revised site plan addressing all outstanding comments as noted by the planning commission and other agencies and departments. Site plan. Based on the comments found in the CWA report dated November 8th, 2024, the OHM report dated November 7th, 2024, and the other ARC committee comments, if the planning commission finds the revised site plan is in compliance with the standards of the zoning ordinance and consistent with the proposed conditional rezoning draft, conditional rezoning agreement, and special land use, a recommendation to approve the site plan as follows could be considered. Based on the findings in the ARC Administrative Review Committee reports, we recommend Planning Commission approve the site plan for SPR 2023-029 Pilot Travel Center, subject to the following. 1, approval of the conditional rezoning and associated conditional rezoning agreement by City Council, approval of the special land use for a truck stop by City Council, special land use waivers as approved by the Planning Commission, a revised site plan being submitted for administrative review of all outstanding items of the Planning Commission and other agencies and departments prior to the review by the City Council.
Thank you.
Thank you for reading that in. Just wanted to make sure it was in the record for sure. So want to go through the comments that you guys had made, the questions you had raised in previous meetings to hopefully alleviate any concerns that you have. Again, just a reminder of what the site plan looks like, and it's here for reference in case we need to point out anything in particular. Again, our floor plan, nothing's changed since the last hearing. A rendering of what the facility will look like with the full brick. We did comply with those requirements. We made that change at the last submission. And then the southern tire mark facility, what it would look like. So all that's just kind of review of information. What I wanted to do is spend a few minutes talking about the need for the travel center by discussing the transportation environment in and around the city. Stuff I think you guys are all familiar with, but it'll be good to remind everyone. Romulus is uniquely located within the transportation network of the Detroit area. You've got I-94 carrying approximately 15,000 trucks per day. You've got I-275 carrying approximately 11,000 trucks per day. I pulled those numbers directly from the MDOT information system. As was mentioned in the staff report, you do have the Norfolk Southern Railroad running immediately north of the facility throughout the city of Romulus and the rest of the region. And directly across the street from us, you've got the Detroit International Airport, which is a big draw for transportation in the area. As far as the freight environment goes, you've got, and this information came from the SIMCOG Freight Task Force meeting just last month. You have 212 million tons of freight moving through the southeastern Michigan area. 74.1% of that is carried by trucks. $400 billion of freight moved through the area, just another measure. 69.5% of that is moved by trucks. And I believe those numbers, if I remember correctly from the report, were actually as of sometime in 2000, either 19 or 21. I suspect today the numbers are actually bigger. Just over 146,000 jobs related to transportation, warehousing, and utilities in that Southeast Michigan corridor related to, again, freight, to trucking and the like. And you have multiple freight-related infrastructure projects planned or underway in this area. When you look at the Gordie Howe Bridge, you look at some of the other I-94 improvements that are being made to help move freight through this area. You know, Romulus is at the heart of freight movement in the area, right? You guys live here, you know that. Trucks are already here, and trucks are going to continue to increase in the area as the International Bridge is built, as distribution space is built out. You've got quite a bit north of I-94 that is built, but still some of it vacant. You've got more, I know, that is planned to be built. And honestly, your city's vision embraces the fact that freight is a big part of your community. This comes directly from the Romulus community vision. I'm not going to read all of it, but the highlighted parts. Community participants expressed a desire for Romulus to take a more aggressive approach to leveraging the competitive strategic positioning as a transportation hub. The second part there, the close access to major east and west and north and south freeways and major rail routes further contributes to this real geographic advantage. I go to the next section. I think these are pages 16 and 17 in your community vision. The visioning process has identified a unique geographic positioning of Romulus with the potential to become a center of transportation and automated logistics industries. Investment into new businesses of this nature is already occurring and has significant upside potential. And I bring that up because your leaders in this community, you guys have recognized the importance of trucking and of freight in the area because of your unique positioning. And you've taken action to that effect, right? 2.5 million square feet of development in the last 2 years, I think that number is correct, and another 2.5 million square feet of development planned in the next 18 months. All of that is on Vining, Wick, and Ecorse Road areas, generally speaking. So Romulus, the city is implementing its community vision. And again, that points to the fact that trucks are here, and they are going to continue to increase in number. But unfortunately, for the trucking companies, for the truck drivers, they have no places to obtain the services they need to keep all of this freight moving, to keep the economy moving forward. And to speak to that a little bit more, I've got Tracy Lawrence, who's an outside sales account manager for Pilot, to come up and discuss what's going on with the trucking companies in the area, what she's hearing from our customers, and I believe she's got at least one customer representative who's local who wants to talk again about the need for this facility. And I want to say about Tracy, in addition to her sales role at Pilot, she's involved in many trucking-related groups within the area and has a good understanding of the needs of this industry. So I'd like for her to come up and take a moment to talk about the industry.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
So I'm Tracy Lawrence. I'm the outside sales rep for Pilot Flying J. I cover Michigan and Ohio. I've been in trucking for 15 years. I sit on the board currently of the Ohio Truck Association, heavy involvement with Michigan Truck Association, future president of the West Michigan Transportation Club, very involved in the Detroit Transportation Club, and very involved in women in trucking and truckers against trafficking. So to say I'm in trucking, I live it, I breathe it, I love it. It's a great industry. Romulus is already a very large trucking hub, as you know. The need here is already real. There's a lot of future current projects coming out. Gordie Howe Bridge is only going to add to that. According to the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, with the bridge and everything, sorry, I'm really nervous. Wayne County alone is expected to grow 29.4% by 2050 alone. That's a lot. We already have a lot of trucks where there's nowhere to park. It's the number one issue facing our industry today. You can ask any trucking company, they will tell you that. Drivers, I used to work with drivers, I did driver recruiting. I had to tell drivers they had to move off exit ramps, entrance ramps. It's not safe for you, for them. It's the most unsafe profession in our country. We're adding 119 parking spaces to help alleviate that to some degree. I think more than whatever I could say to you in words, I've invited Gary Percy from AD Transport to be here to say a few words. He's been in the industry for 40 years and in the community, I believe, his entire life. So Gary, if you'd like to come up and say a few words.
Hello.
Good evening.
My name's Gary Percy. I'm president of AD Transport. I've been here for over 40 years. I'm showing my age. And we've been in the trucking business. We've also done a lot of work over at the airport, as well as for Fortune 500 companies, Ford, GM, Chrysler. Even when we were doing, at one time, we had all the airline business, and we were over in the Romulus area. It has been obvious for many, many, many years that we really need consolidation of parking for trucks. If you look around in the airport right now, they're parked everywhere. Even out into Van Buren Township, Canton Township, they're parking on the side of the road. They have no place to go. There's a lot of truck stops. I call them one-off truck stops, or not very much parking, whereby it gives them an avenue to go in and get fuel. But not parking, not food, not whatever, the trucking industry needs. I feel this is a good move. You got a company here that's got very deep pockets, that's capable of servicing the trucking industry in your area. I think it would be a disservice not to let them into this area, because I think you do need it. And you've needed it for many, many years. And I'm sure everybody here knows about that. I mean, look at the airline parking in the airport. It's full of trucks. They're parked everywhere, and they have no place to go. And I just think that it would be a benefit to the community. It would be a benefit to the industry to have something like this and be able to consolidate the trucks into that one area in lieu of parking everywhere. It's very dangerous. Parking these semi-trucks parked on the side of the road. I mean, even on Belleville Road, where our corporate office is, a lot of times we have to go out and ask them to move so we get in and out of our property. So they have no place to go. And I feel that it would be a disservice to the community if this didn't get put in. Any questions?
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Gary, could you explain why you feel that it'd be a disservice not to have this come into the community? What's the benefit for the community?
I'm sorry.
Could you explain, you say it'll be a disservice to the community. Could you explain what would be the benefit for the community?
Well, as the growth, I mean, look at the warehousing that's being built today.
Yes, sir.
Ashley Capital just put in millions of square feet out there. And there's only one way you're gonna service that is with the trucking industry. So you're bringing in more and more trucks. And right now, I can tell you, if you get in your vehicle and drive just through the airport, there's trucks everywhere. There's trucks in parking lots, there's trucks in car parking lots. There is, and a lot of these facilities, such as some of the smaller truck stops that are in the area that service fuel, if the truck is caught in there, they have these companies come out and either boot the truck or tow the truck. And those bills are anywhere from between $2,500 to $3,500 per occurrence. So as we grow in this area, again, we need places to put trucks. So they can, they have a place to park. And the new hours of service, that's not even, I'll go into the hours of service. Now it's electronic logs. So when the driver gets close to his 10 hours, they have to shut down. There's no, you can't fudge a line or something and, drive over to Taylor or to Ann Arbor or something like that. They have to shut down. And if they don't, it's a fine. So there's a lot of components to this. That's, Does that answer your question?
Understandably so, the benefit for the industry. But my question is the benefit for the community also.
Again, if you get in a car and you drive in the airport or even around in these local areas, Canton, Van Buren Township, Romulus, everywhere there's trucks parked in car parking lots, in business parking lots, in Walmart, and those types of things. And these people have had it, these corporations have had it. They don't want the trucks in there. So they're actually towing trucks out of their yard. So again, it gets the trucks consolidated in an area such as one, and these guys have the facility to handle that type of activity.
Thank you.
Okay.
Are you driving now?
I'm sorry?
Are you driving a truck now?
Oh, my God. No, I own.
You own?
Yeah,
You own a-
I'm the president.
I'm sorry, so you have guys that work for you?
Oh, my God, yeah, I've got over 700 people working for me. And we have problems too, and we have actual people that are in our operation navigating these people so that we can get them into a safe place to park. It's a big deal. It's not only in Romulus, it's in Belleville, it's in Canton, it's everywhere. And, and people need the commodities to come in, but no one has the space to park the truck, right? So if a guy gets in here tonight at 8 o'clock, and he doesn't deliver till 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, he's sitting someplace. 9 times out of 10, it's on the side of the road. And in our corporate office, we have Costco, which is a big warehouse across the, they don't even have the parking in their facility to take care of their trucks, their inbound trucks. So this is a big deal. I mean, and the more and more these community grows and Ashley Capital keeps building millions of square feet, where are you going to put the trucks? So I think it's a good deal, and it's a good partner. We even do business with them, and have for years. Any other questions?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
No, thank you.
Thank you. I thought it was good, important for you guys to hear a little bit from people in the industry outside of Pilot, right? And obviously Tracy's with Pilot, but she's talking to customers all over the area and hearing what their needs are, right? And I do want to address more fully what the benefits to the community are, although Gary did mention those things. But I think it's important for us to address those. One of the big things is truck parking in Romulus, right? And Gary mentioned that, Tracy mentioned that it's a problem industry-wide. There's not enough places for trucks to park. In Romulus, in Columbus, Ohio, wherever you go, there's not enough places. We all like to buy stuff, and trucks carry almost all of that stuff. and we want the stuff delivered to us, and we want it to come, our Amazon Prime to get here tomorrow because can't wait, 3 days, right? Well, all that's carried by trucks, and these guys are doing a great service to the country, but they need to be taken care of. They need a place that they can park. When we look at truck parking in Romulus, in our first meeting with city staff, the need for truck parking was made really clear to us that there's a problem. And to kind of go through some of the details of that, again, insufficient suitable truck parking in the area, trucks currently parking anywhere they can find a place. Just a couple of visuals. This was, I want to say it was either Wednesday or Thursday of last week. You see trucks parking along one of your city streets waiting to get into businesses for early morning loads. Again, more photos of that. This photo, I believe, is I think it's on Old Ormond Road in the morning one day last week. Trucks that don't have a place to park, and they're just parking there waiting for their delivery slot to unload their truck. This one is a gas station at Ecorse and Merriman where no overnight parking is allowed, but you've got trucks parked there and the camper. This one is at the 4 Points Hotel, 7:30 in the morning on 12/11, right? And this happens over and over again. One of the issues you have when trucks are parking places that they shouldn't is they tear stuff up. You see all of the rutting either in the road or on the sides of the road. And one of the concerns that has been brought up in this meeting is, well, how do you keep trucks from going places they shouldn't go? Give them a proper place to go. That is the best way to do it, so that they don't end up going in areas that they shouldn't be from a safety standpoint, but also where the roads are not built to handle their traffic. These two photos are at Sheets right after the opening, and I understand that problem has been dealt with through the city. But again, right after Sheets opened, trucks were parking there, even though there's no parking for trucks. Why? Because they need a place to park. The city has a truck parking problem. As Tracy mentioned a while ago, the proposed travel center will provide 119 truck parking places, right? And it's not just that we're giving 119 truck parking places. It's also paired with necessary services. Fuel. There's going to be a tire shop, right? So they can get service. They can get food. There's showers. There's all of the things that these professional drivers need to keep them going, so that they can keep their businesses going, they can keep the economy going, and so that they can be where they're supposed to be and not in areas of the city where they shouldn't be. There's also the economic benefits. Actually, I guess I want to go back and cover something else. We did speak to the chief of police on Friday, and he confirmed that truck parking issues are frequent, and he gets frequent calls from the mayor and others that they need to be dealt with, that trucks need to be moved out of the way. The police department cannot ticket everybody, and frequently it's because, as Gary mentioned, the guys are out of hours. They can't legally move, right? They can't drive that truck any further, or they are breaking a federal law. So you have trucks parking in places where they shouldn't be, and you can't do anything about it until 10 hours later when they're off the rest time. I think the proposed travel center will make a difference in the city by providing a place for professional drivers to safely park and get the services they need. And as we've talked about a little bit before, but I want to remind you, there's economic benefits associated with this travel center as well. Community benefits, 50 jobs created, $1.6 million annual payroll, $486,000 in tax revenue for the city. That's an estimate, obviously, but that's what we're looking at. And a $17+ million investment in the city of Romulus, building things. We're going to be repairing / upgrading the road in front of the site, right? To make it have better shape, to make it be able to handle the load of trucks and other traffic that's going to be on the road in front of us. So we're providing jobs, we're providing tax revenue, we're helping solve a problem. We're also providing another service, another opportunity for your citizens to get the services they need, whether it's fuel, whether it's food, convenience items. It's another opportunity with a nice facility that is going to be clean, it's going to be well lit, it's going to be well run, for people to shop and spend money in Romulus. Some of the things that you guys have mentioned as being concerns, and rightfully so, were safety and security, right? You got a lot of trucks parking in one place. How do you keep it safe? How do you make sure that we don't have any crime problems? We worked with the police department to come up with a security plan that was acceptable to them. They signed off on that. You asked us to look at it again and to go further, right? So we've done that. We've upgraded, and I'm going to show you a plan in a minute that kind of lays this out. We've upgraded the number of cameras on the site. So there'll be 7 cameras covering the parking lot. The truck parking lot would have 100% camera coverage. That was one of the concerns last time as well. There's going to be a couple of blind spots. We will have 100% coverage of the truck parking lot with cameras. Monitoring the camera, the cameras are not, but the monitoring system and recording system is located in the manager's office. It's checked at least 3 times per day whenever the manager's in there. And before we think, okay, well, it's checked 3 times a day, there's more to that from an operational standpoint that one of our operations leaders is going to address in a moment. The data is stored for at least 30 days, and is available for law enforcement upon request, right? So we do have the camera plan. This is a little bit hard to read, but I'll get the little light here. So when you're looking at the plan, the red dots are the cameras, and then the field of vision is shown by the blue arrows that go out in each direction, so it kind of shows the full field of vision. So again, we have full coverage in many places by multiple cameras, right? This one's covering both sides. So we've got really good camera coverage of the truck parking lot, in addition to the cameras that cover our fuel islands and our building the way that we always have. So again, from a security standpoint, we're covering things with the cameras well. We talked a lot about a security guard. We proposed to put in a security guard to patrol the site from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. daily, to cover those overnight hours when your biggest concern was, to make sure that if hopefully that nothing improper happens, but if it does, that it's dealt with quickly, that it's dealt with effectively. So again, I believe that just with those 2 things, with the additional camera coverage and with the security guard, that we have addressed the security concerns. But on top of that, we have operational procedures. And again, that was something that was brought up last time. I'm not in operations. I didn't know the answers to all those questions. So we've actually brought our Lisa Trottigot, who is our regional manager, who will be covering this store. It will be under her leadership, to discuss standard operating procedures at our company that enhance safety and security. But beyond that, she will then go into things, to operating procedures that cover maintenance, that cover cleanliness, the other concerns that you guys brought up. How do we make sure that this is something that the community can be proud of? And Lisa's going to address those. By way of introduction, Lisa's been with Pilot for over 20 years. She served as a regional manager for 14 years. She has tremendous knowledge of the industry, the company, and our store operations. And it's important also to note that Lisa lives within an hour of Romulus. So she's fairly local, right? Her team members that work for her in this market will be very local. She has a vested interest in making sure that this facility runs as it should, because it's home. And I'll leave the rest to her to talk about, again, a bunch of operating procedures and maybe go through some photos of facilities to show kind of what that looks like and how it works.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to talk about some of our operating procedures when it comes to, obviously, security, maintenance, and overall cleanliness of our facilities.
Could we get your name and address for the record?
I'm sorry?
Your name and address for the record?
Lisa Trottigot, and 5508 Lonis Drive, and that's based out of Knoxville. But I do live in the Toledo area. Okay. So I want to make it clear that all of our team members are trained. So I want to kind of start from the training aspect before I talk within this, all the other areas. Whether it be our travel center general manager, they go through a 90-day training program, so they're taught all of these policies and procedures to be able to come into their site and implement those on a day-to-day basis. Our shift leads, which would be folks that would work 40 hours a week, 5 days out of the week, they're trained off of a 4-week training program, again, learning, understanding, and training. And then when we get to our hourly team members, they have like a 5-day training program. We have what we also call it's called LMS, but it's a learning system that they go through. So it is online training to teach policies and procedures as well. So there is adequate training from amongst all of our teams to understand the process, the way we do things, as well as security and safety concerns. We have what we call a shift readiness walk that's done typically 3 times a day by each leader that comes within the building. And it touches on security, it touches on cleanliness, it touches on our team members, it touches on our restaurants if we have them. It is a walk that we do that we validate whether our camera systems are working, whether all of our pumps are working, driving the lot, looking at the cleanliness of the lot, making sure that we're following the procedures outlined by the company's expectations. From driving the lot perspective, that's done at a minimum 3 times a day. That's something that I do every time that I'm on site. That's something that my leaders do. Every single time that a pilot travel center employee from a field perspective drives a facility, everybody validates that the lots and the cleanliness of the lots are there. One thing I do want to touch a little bit on is human trafficking. So we also have an intensive e-learning module online about human trafficking. We also partner with the Downriver Veterans. They actually come in on a quarterly basis. The Woodhaven location is mine. And they come in and not only do they educate our team members there on what to look for, but they also then educate a lot of the drivers when they come in. And we do that typically on a quarterly basis just to have that knowledge there, that reference, the reminder, all of those things to be able to help keep that to the forefront of everybody's mind while they're in the stores. Let's see. In addition, from that shift readiness walk, we do validate that all doors are locked and secured. Again, that's done something 3 times a day, if not more frequent than that. It is responsibility of all of our leaders as well as our maintenance folks to validate that the pumps are in working condition, to include validating that there are no skimmers on the pumps. So we have a tape that we put on. Obviously, if it's listed that's void, then we have to go through an intensive thing to validate that there are no skimmers that have been added. As Brad talked about the camera system, we do validate that the camera systems are operational on a shiftly basis. They are located in the manager's office, and they're it is literally smack dab in front of everybody's face. So they can realize if there's an opportunity from a camera system. Those camera systems can also be remotely accessed, so I have the ability to be able to look at the camera system. Any of our support team from the corporate office have access to that camera system as well. In addition, we do monthly and quarterly safety assessments. So there's a monthly assessment that we do that is just regarding around safety. That's validating that the sidewalks are in good working, and no trips, slips, or fall hazards. There's lighting. There's just inside using the proper box cutters, those types of things, just to validate that we're doing everything proper to keep not only our teams but our guests safe as well. There is a quarterly safety assessment that's completed, and that is an intensive, I want to say it's over 100 questions that we walk to make sure that all the lights are working, all the doors close properly. I mean, it's just, there's a ton of questions that's on there that we didn't need to validate. In addition to that, we have what we call a regional facility service person that comes in, and he does his own. So there's several safety things done throughout multiple people within our organization to make sure that we're operating our stores in a safe environment, not only for our teams and our guests. Let's see. We do have a shower monitor system. That is beneficial because it also can tell us how long a shower's been in use. So if a shower's been in use for an hour or more, typically you see it's a half hour, but if it's more than that, then that's other safety protocols that we look at, right? So is that driver safe? Could something have happened to that driver? All those kinds of things. But there is the monitor system that we do look at and validate that that's being turned and all of those types of things. In addition, we do a wellness check, safety. So if a trucking company calls and says, hey, our truck's been on site for X amount, we can't get a hold of the driver, there is a protocol that we do from a safety check, and that is where we actually, new to our policy within the last year or so, is to call the law enforcement and have the law enforcement help us validate and hopefully make sure that the individual in the truck is okay. During winter months, we have a third-party licensed vendors that make sure that our lot is safe from a snowplow and salting. They come out whenever we call them, and they will ensure that our lot is plowed just to keep it safe for the drivers and for our guests as well. So those are some things. I'm sure I missed some, but those are a ballpark of what we do from a safety perspective. From cleanliness, as I said earlier, we train our teams. There are processes to every single thing we do, whether that's cleaning the showers, whether that's cleaning our restrooms, whether that's cleaning, just mopping the floor. There are different processes that we train our team members on how to do it the proper way. And there are multiple leaders throughout the shift that are trained. Right, so if the GM is busy, then there's another leader that can actually ensure that those policies and procedures are being done. Let's see, restrooms checks, we do them. I mean, the rule of thumb is every 30 minutes, but as Brad said, I've been with the company for a long time. I know that 30 minutes may not be beneficial. I can go in and I can clean that restroom, and then 1 minute later it could be whatever, right? So I actually ask my team to do it more frequent than a half hour, because as you can imagine how many individuals we see in a day and how many individuals go into that restroom, that's a lot. And so we make sure that, I make sure with my team that we do it more frequent than every 30 minutes. And then just a couple other things. When we talk about maintenance, sorry, I probably should have went there. When we talk about maintenance, there's, we have lead maintenance folks on site that we train. In some cases, we hope that they're super knowledgeable and they can do some of the easy things. But if for some reason that they can't do that, I work closely with the corporate office. We have a system that you log a ticket. I usually call my maintenance rep that's from Knoxville, have an amazing relationship with the individual, and they seem to get our vendors out pretty quick. We have what we call service technicians, and we have two that are here locally that they are trained in multiple things, from HVAC to plumbing to electric, whatever that may be, and they can usually come in and try to fix it. If it's beyond their control, then we obviously get vendors that will come in and fix whatever needs to be fixed. And then just, I guess, as we talk about the contact list and you look at just the hierarchy of the store, it would be the travel center general manager that I've had employed for a little over a year. So he's well understanding of the policies and procedures and has been doing this, like I said, for over the past year. Then it would be myself, which would be the region manager, so I would be the next in line. And then it would be our division directors, which would be my supervisor. Above him then would be our vice president of operations, and then above him would be our chief operating officer. So that is kind of how the hierarchy of the individual location would be. There are, we do have a contact list within the store that will have every single team member's telephone number. So if anybody were to need anything, that contact list is there and it's present for anybody to be able to use within the facility. We don't give out numbers. Let's see. And then just really the last I would say is I think about my region, and I do, I live in the Toledo area. I have 11 locations today. I go as far north as Woodhaven and I go far west as Fremont, Indiana. But I have several stores within the Toledo area, something that I have been doing for 14 years, and I love what I do. I absolutely love what I do. I love being able to make an impact on the team, and I love being able to make an impact on the drivers that we see every day. And as Brad said, I mean, we wouldn't have what we have today if it wasn't for our professional drivers, because they give us everything that we have. A couple pictures I would like to show, and these are my facilities. This particular facility is Ottawa Lake, Michigan. Sorry, I lied. This one here is Eden, Ohio. This one is, was built September, well, we opened it September 30th of 2023, so it's just a little bit over a year old. And these are just some of the pictures of the individual location. That's the front from the gas side. Obviously, we offer a dog park in this particular location. Still Eden, the gas pump's there. That's where it shows the Southern Tire Mart and part of the truck parking in the back. This one here is Ottawa Lake, Michigan. This one here is one that we had just recently did a facility enhancement program on. Taking time to upgrade the facility to our brand standards. And this is their truck parking, more of their truck parking.
Madam Chair, we have
All
some
right,
questions.
Lisa, thank you. And I think you can see from what, the things that Lisa covered about.
Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I ask a couple of questions? First off,
He wants to ask a couple questions of
yeah. Part of our concern was, would the city have access to points of contact so that they could get a hold of somebody if they foresaw issues with the site?
Absolutely, I would be glad to give my number.
That's kind of what we want to make sure we have.
Absolutely.
Now this, I don't know who can answer this next comment, but last meeting, I think Mr. Dagger made comments that this facility would be best of the best, top-tier facility, flagship location. Now those superlatives are real nice, but do they mean anything in real life? Is this any different than any other pilot store?
What I would tell you, just based off of my experience being with the company for as long as I have, having a brand new facility has been amazing. When I look at Eden, Ohio, compared to some of the other locations, and I'm not downgrading any of our locations, I want to make that clear, but this would be the newest technology, the newest pumps, the look of the building. And you got to think we've been in business for 60 years, right? So there's a wide variety from the very first pilot travel centers to where we are today. And I wholeheartedly believe my Eden store is one of the best stores, and super excited to be able to open another one that would even be better enhanced than where we were with Eden.
At Eaton, do you have an in-house franchise restaurant,
We have our deli,
but nothing outside?
no.
Okay, so really this is just another pilot station,
Correct.
but new one. It's not anything special.
I think you're getting at is how can we guarantee that this is the best of the best?
I'm just going from what we were told.
I understand, and with all due respect to Mr. Dogger, he doesn't work for Pilot, he doesn't speak necessarily for
So we
Pilot.
can't commit to anything for your behalf.
So, correct, but I will say this, that, you know, we are, I told you, I think the first meeting, that we are spending a tremendous amount of money. It was listed as $1 billion over 3 years. It's actually a whole lot more than $1 billion over more years than that we're spending to do things like she showed you at the Ottawa Lake Store, to go in and take an older facility and get it up to the latest and greatest brand standards. Do they all look the same? Well, no, because you have the structure that you started out with. The photos she showed you of Eden are much more representative of what you would see here in Romulus, other than the brick that we have committed to do here. But Lisa's point about a newer facility, the practices and procedures are the same everywhere. But when you get to a facility that is designed to our latest and greatest standards, it's a lot easier to maintain everything the way that you want it maintained. It just looks better in general. So can we say that this is going to be the #1 store in the company? No, sir, I cannot. But I can tell you that we have a dedicated team of employees led by Lisa, her store team, Quinn's right behind me, sorry, who is going to be the divisional director over the store, who it is their business to make sure that we have a top-tier facility, a first-class facility. I would put our facilities, especially our new ones and the ones that we've recently remodeled, against any in the country, no matter what flag they are flying. Are we still working to upgrade some facilities that maybe don't meet our standards as well? Yes, we are. You guys have pointed out to us the Woodhaven facility. It's getting a whole lot of money spent on it next year, right? So we are working our way across the network to upgrade all of our facilities so that no matter what community that we are in, the people in that community can point to that and say, I'm proud that that pilot is part of my community, because it's neat, it's clean, it provides great service, it's safe, it's secure, all of the things that we work daily as a company to ensure for our team members, our guests, and the communities in which we operate.
The only other comment I'll make is I do appreciate and recognize the fact putting a security person overnight hours to keep things safe on site, plus the camera coverage means a lot to me at this point. And that's all I have.
Well, thank you, and I know there's probably more questions. I guess I'll wrap us up on this part, and then we'll make sure there's all questions are answered, no matter what they are. Right? Again, we appreciate the opportunity to present this project to this commission, to the city. We look forward to being part of this city. We think we can make a difference to help solve a concern that you have. We think we can make a difference to provide benefits to the community. Yes, by solving problems, but also some positive things with jobs, with services that may be lacking in the city. The commission has asked us a lot of good questions. You've challenged us to make sure that we have the best possible plan, and we've made changes, right? We upgraded the security plan, and then we upgraded it again to make sure it's something that everybody can be comfortable with. We've worked with your staff to come up with a look to the facility that is the best possible, that meets, actually, I guess at this point, we exceed the criteria as far as the aesthetic look of the facility. We've upgraded the landscaping kind of above and beyond at the request of the staff. They've been great to work with, and I believe you read, Jeff read into the record their positive comments and recommendations about the facility. And I think that's important to understand, that the people we've been working with the whole time to make sure we get the details right have been pleased. You've talked about traffic concerns, and we've addressed those. We've worked with Wayne County to hopefully get a change to some striping that'll make an intersection just to our north a little bit less confusing. Again, we've tried to work with you to meet your concerns, to address your concerns, and to make this the best possible project. So, with that, again, we respectfully request your approval of the three things: the rezoning, the conditional rezoning, the special land use, and the site plan. And with that, I'm sure there are questions. So we've got a fleet of people here from Pilot and our consultants that are happy to answer any questions you may have.
Right. Before we do that, there are a number of people over here. This is not a public hearing, but if there's anybody over there that has a comment that they want to make?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
My name is Dr. Fadi Nasruddin. I'm the owner of the medical truck stop that's located on 27416 E-Course Road. I purchased that location about 3 to 4 years ago. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to compete with the big fish right here. I'm the small fish. But hopefully with your honest judgment, then I can basically show the truth, and then we'll see what happens after. When I purchased this location about 3 years ago, over $12 million, I believed in the city and I believed in the state, because I own about 18 locations statewide. I had to bring a large team. I had to do all my studies and the marketing and all that to show anyone that it's worth the building. So after doing that, I started talking to some of the city members and some of the city high levels. Obviously, when you're spending over $12 million on a property, you ask, who's going to come around and build a station? Pilot has been trying for the last 10 years, maybe less, to build a location, and they've been denied. Now, all of a sudden, they keep coming back. If I was told there's a possibility for Pilot to build, maybe I wouldn't be able to spend, or I would not spend $12 million into my location. Now, they showed you all those statistics about cameras, about overnight parking, about showers, about mechanics, my location has them all. And I have plenty of parking. I sit on 23 acres. So I don't know where they got those numbers. Now, let me give you a little, honestly, I'm part of the DDA, which is Garden City Downtown District Authority. So I know exactly where you're all coming from. And I also own a location in Garden City. Statistically speaking, I really want Romulus to flourish and become a better city, but I want it to become a better community, not a better truck stop location, building truck stops all over the place. We wanted to have more homes, more grocery shops, more hotels, more residents to come into the city, not to become a city hub for trucking. Now, he tells you the statistic about truck drivers not being able to park, this and that. Well, every one of us drive a car. Sometimes we get to park on the side because we choose to. There's plenty of parking, but it's based on an individual where they want to park the car. Now, I did my homework a little bit here and there. There's approximately, within 5-mile radius, 22 gas stations around the Detroit Metro Airport. 22. On an average of every station, they hire between 5 to 8 employees. On an average of every location, they pay $30,000 to $40,000 in property tax. Now, you do the math. Basically, they're going to be paying, we pay double what they're going to be paying for the city. That's number one. Number two, like I said, I own over 18 locations, so I know where I'm coming from. And I'm from Michigan. I'm not from Knoxville. I'm not from another state trying to bring something into the city. 70% of the cities in Michigan, they're already having a new ordinance, no new gas stations. And I own in Flint Township, I own in Canton, I own in Dearborn, I own in Dearborn Heights, I own in Garden City, I own in Romulus, I own in Belleville, I own in Howell, I own in every city, gas stations. And so I know exactly, my numbers are true facts, not just made up numbers for everyone to be happy about it. Now, if you try, obviously, on an average, when Pilot comes along, this is a national statistic number. You have about 20 to 30 employees working for Pilot. Now, he said 50. Now, you do the math on the 22 locations that have an average of 7 to 8 employees. You have over 300 employees. And also on a national average, when they come along, they shut down about 50% of their businesses around competitors because their prices are way below everybody else. Because we have sheets already across the board on the other side, which we're about 2 miles away from them. We lost about 20% of our business. So what you're gonna have a beautiful Taj Mahal location. Everybody loves that Spencer 94, but then you're gonna have a lot of empty gas stations in the city of Romulus. Is this what you guys want? Plus, a lot of people with no jobs. Okay. Having said that, and most of the gas stations, we pay city taxes, we pay for everything. Let me give you a little sample of my location. My location sits on 23 acres. I have 5 existing businesses that run from me that live in the city of Romulus. From a tire shop, that they do tire shops for trucks. They also do mechanic shops. They also do car wash trucks. I also have a skill for the trucks that everybody have to come in. And I also have parking for everybody that comes in, and half of our parking empty most of the times. And I have 2 of my managers here. I have Mike and Obi, and Stephanie wasn't able to make it because she had a cold. So I have enough employees in this city and working in the city. Now, how much taxes do I pay? I pay about $123,000 a year. $123,000 a year. Do you think I'm going to be able to survive after these people come along less than a mile away from me? I don't think so. So basically, my business is going to decrease. The rental property people are going to end up leaving. I have showers. I have a Subway. That's a totally different franchise than they have their own Pilot. Everything their own. No, here I have a lot of people. And we also, we have a lot of the employees that work with us, they live in the city of Romulus. They're going to be jobless. So, to be honest with you, I don't know what we're thinking about. It's your decision to make, but let's be honest and fair. Are you trying to build a city, or are you trying just to have a big building that's on 94 that makes everybody happy and it looks great for everybody? And that's your decision to make, to be honest with you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And sorry, just one more thing. I've seen Circle K come along. I've seen Sheets. I've seen GPs. I've seen Pilot. I've seen a lot of different companies come along, like I said, in over 18 cities, and they've destroyed every business. As a matter of fact, Sheets tried to build one on Ford Road and Middle Belt, and the city refused because they don't want every city to be just a gas station. Canton does not allow any gas stations. So you just need to be aware of your surrounding. I am sure you are, but it's good to hear from a resident, from someone that lives in the city, someone that spends a lot of money in the city. And as we speak right now, I'm even speaking with the assistant and the mayor that I'm spending over $500,000 on my parking, which I have Hennessy, you guys recommended, the city of Romulus recommended. I already paid them $125,000 to give me analysis and engineering for the parking lot. So I'm dumping all this money, and I got these people coming out of nowhere, and you can tell, I mean, they're a team. This is who they are. I mean, they got a lot of money on them. I mean, they're a billion-dollar company. And they're just gonna show you just the true facts. They're not gonna show you the negative about them. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, respected members of the board. My name is Ali Mekdad. I am 47 years old. I have 4 kids. I'm born and raised in Dearborn, Michigan, and I'm also a local business owner. I'm gonna save the whole America's built on the backbone of small businesses. I think we can all agree. What I do wanna mention to you and bring to your attention today, in the past 10 years, there's been legal issues with Pilot Flying J, including a history of fraudulent practices, rebate schemes, complaints about poor management, employee treatment, high turnover. They have an issue regarding their equipment. They have past lawsuits regarding unfulfilled discounts promised to trucking customers and often referred to as jacking the discount. They have fraudulent rebate schemes. They're involved in a lot of legal trouble. A lot of allegations, a lot of widespread schemes, and companies that do not deliver their full amount, leading to significant lawsuits. Poor management and employee treatments, equipment maintenance issues, customer service complaints, and past legal issues. This is all public records. Nothing that came from me. I was able simply, about 2 hours ago prior to the meeting, I just Googled legal issues with Flying J, and lo and behold, this is what Google popped up. I just want to let you know that this is what we're allowing to come in to become our main competitor. Who knows what's to come aside from these allegations? Thank you very much.
Excuse me, what's the time frame?
Of these issues?
Yeah.
This is in the last 5 to 10 years. I'm sure the team can answer those for you.
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry? Who?
He's getting up.
One that's coming around?
Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
Hi.
My name is Leander Richmond. Small business owner, trucking company, and starting a movement called CarriersUnited.com because of what's going on in the trucking industry and what's happening to drivers. You guys may not be aware of this, but each night, excuse me, actually, I think I'll start with a story. April this year, 2 o'clock in the morning, my phone rings. I answer, Marlon, what's going on? He's so upset he can barely speak. He was in a parking lot, North Carolina, I'm sorry, Bojangles. Someone came in, 2 o'clock in the morning, put a boot on the truck, then they knocked on the truck and wake him up. $3,000 to get the boot removed. Or, you see that shiny tow truck over there? $12,000 if we tow you. This happens every single night in this country because there's no place to park. The rest area that was open before this area was developed on 275, someone decided there's land, let's build homes right up next to it. What did they do after that? They started complaining about the very rest area for truck parking that was located right behind their homes. In 2018, they closed that rest area, decreasing the available safe parking spaces for trucks. I'm in support of more parking for trucks. Drivers are getting abused every single night in this country. I apologize for that. A lot of places, you may not be aware, drivers are paying $300 to $400 a week to park. Some of those places are truck stops. Finding some place that's consistently clean. It's a beacon of hope. Now I'll give you a maintenance story. I had a driver whose truck broke down. It was a DPF issue, diesel particulate filter issue, and he was in the middle of Wyoming. It was 30 below zero. Their truck stop was 35 miles away. His truck's not running. Too long, he's going to die. They were there, they were available. They weren't able to fix the issue, but they gave my driver a ride back and kept him warm. We sent a tow truck for the truck. I could talk for 5 hours about the many available resources. Now, I hate that someone went on the attack against Pilot, but it seems to me that they are more interested in maintaining some sort of a monopoly rather than increasing their own service quality and competing. I don't think that was a fair statement. I drove a truck for 10 years before starting my own company 20 years ago. Now I deal with everything that my drivers deal with, and just so you know, I paid that tow invoice. I went to South Carolina to fight one for a guy that got charged $3,700. He doesn't even work for me. Okay, I've been advocating for trucking and truck drivers. They're fighting to create the amenities that drivers need every day. Every single thing in this building, every single thing that you have on, every single thing that you have was brought by somebody that has a family member that they don't see for weeks at a time. Kids that they don't get to go and enjoy wrestling meets like I do on my own children. These guys are suffering every single day. Some people say, well, they chose this lifestyle. Absolutely they did. But let's help them out as much as we can, because God knows you're treating them second rate, but without them, we'd be third world. Everything moves by truck. Everything that touches a train gets there by truck. It gets off the train by truck. Everything that hits that airplane at the airport, truck. So I would ask you to support them, because we need the parking. These drivers are being abused. One more. We encountered this as well. Ice storm, Nebraska. I'm on a parking ramp because the roadway was too slick to drive, not a parking ramp. Yeah, off ramp. I wasn't there 10 minutes. A state trooper knocked on the door and said, you can't park here. I said, I can't drive on the freeway. I'm sliding sideways. Well, you either move or I'm going to tow you. Okay? We're dealing with all sorts of level of people that are uninformed and not helpful, and truck drivers need the help. Okay? Pilot is located on the freeway. That place is not accessible, not hugely accessible. Truck drivers don't see it. They have to know where it is. It's not easy to get to unless you're coming westbound. When people drive the freeway, when we travel, we go to Minnesota. I've got a mother that's got issues. We go to Minnesota 5-6 times a year. You know what we look for when we stop? Someplace safe. That's usually that sign. I heard the gentleman say before, I don't want to pull into a Pilot and worry about my 17-year-old daughter pulling in and seeing a whole bunch of trucks. Trucks are not dangerous. Truck drivers are not dangerous. We need your help, please. Thank you.
Thank you. No, we can't keep going back and forth.
Just one more thing, if you don't mind. Just one thing. Regarding, I mean, he said this monopoly is not
But
monopoly.
this is not an argument. We
This
don't
is
want
not
to
an
sit
argument.
down.
I only asked for comments.
But I don't have a
Okay.
skill, people know the locations.
Well, we're not going to go back and forth. We're not going to go back and forth with arguments. You're going to be the last one to speak.
Sure. My name is Nick, Nick Neighbor. I'm a resident of Plymouth, member of the FlexMart family. After listening to the members of the pilot community, it sounds like we don't have a gas station problem, we have a parking problem. So I suggest we address that instead of adding another gas station near a wetland and increasing the risk of possibility of any type of contamination. Two, the gentleman asked one of the members if they can mention one single thing that can benefit the community, and the gentleman has failed to do so. In a quick Google search to the nearest pilot, you can Google it yourself and search it. It shows a 3.0 rating with a bunch of pictures showing dirty trash cans, dirty bathrooms, and what's so on. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and open it up to the commissioners now for any questions or comments. With pilot.
Madam Chair, over here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I have a couple. I know I wasn't here last week, but last month, but I did watch the video, and I do have a couple of questions that I don't think were thoroughly explained from last month. So, if you don't mind, sir. I think one question that they did ask outside of the benefit question, I know you mentioned 486,000 in taxes. Question, is that directly to the city of Romulus? Does any of that go to Wayne? Does any of that go into Tifa, to the general fund? Do you have any definite descriptions on that?
Okay, so our tax team at our corporate office puts those together. The 486 should be what goes to the city of Romulus. Now, how it's divided among different funds, that's beyond me, but the 486 should be to the city. In whatever format that comes in.
Is that Tifa just read?
Through the chair. So, yeah, the tax bill, the city of Romulus is in charge of collecting the taxes, obviously. So the tax money comes into the treasurer's office, and then from the treasurer's office, it gets distributed to all the different taxing entities and identified whether it's Wayne Risa or SMART or Wayne County, the state, the other entities, including Tifa. So this location is in a Tifa district. So the Tifa would capture the taxes that are brought forth on this, and then just like any of our other TIFA captures, that goes back into infrastructure within the city in undeveloped areas for continued economic development growth.
Thank you.
And just for clarity, it does go back, but only to TIFA areas, and that's not the entire city. So just want to make sure we have that clear. Also, one of the gentlemen did ask you to spell out what happens at that tire shop. I know you mentioned tires in service, and the question was asked several times, what type of maintenance, what type of repair? The answer was, take my word for it, trust me, there won't be any heavy duty. I don't know what that means, and the word service is subjective, and the word maintenance is subjective. If there isn't anything detailed in there as far as what is allowed and what's not allowed, I'd like to hear that, because we did have some areas in the city where there were people doing things that they were not supposed to do, but it wasn't spelled out. And I just like that T's and I's.
Oh, okay, so the Southern Tire Mart facilities are lube and what you probably call light maintenance. So obviously oil changes, tires, those two things kind of make sense. And it'd be what you might call bolt-on maintenance. We're not going to pull engines. There's no major overhaul. There's no body work. It's the again, the light maintenance is the best term I can come up with. Something got broken, maybe they're replacing something on a light, or again, lubes and tires is the main things. Operators, you guys got any? Well, I'll let Tracy dig in a little bit more.
Hi there. So our Southern Tire Mart partnership, like Brad said, we don't do any major overhauls. It's very light maintenance, like your DOT inspections, your lube, anything obviously related to tires. There's nothing major that is done. There may be things that we diagnose that we send back to the driver to get done at a proper facility.
Is all of that detailed in writing in our documentation, so that if at some point someone decided that, oh, this truck really needs this and they can't leave the property without it, so we'll just go ahead and do it? Is there something in writing in the documents that is signed with the city that says this is only what we're allowed to do, is my question.
We have not had that discussion in any of the conditional rezoning agreement discussions and the like, but it's something that we could certainly get a list of services that Southern Tire Mart provides in writing.
We sort of do have it. There's provisions in the conditional rezoning agreement that expresses these general terms, but as you can see through the suggested motions, where it says as amended on this agreement, we certainly would be asking you with any motion to let us work administratively with Pilot with on that one topic as well as several others to tidy up the conditional rezoning agreement. So we can definitely add that to the list.
Yeah, for me, that's a requirement. As I mentioned, we do have so many businesses in this city that at some point they tend to sneak and do things until we find out. And once we find out, it's usually the problem, like contaminating soil and it getting into people's properties. Or a big fire we had at someone that was recycling things that they weren't supposed to be recycling. We need those in writing, because we have to at some point stop, and then we also need an ability to do something about it.
I understand, and we can certainly work with staff to make sure that we get that list to you guys. Again, that they are not equipped, being Southern Tire Mart, they're not equipped to do the heavy overhauls, the heavy work that is going to require some specialized equipment, specialized mechanics. But as Tracy said, they can diagnose it and say, hey, you need to go somewhere else to get this fixed. And maybe they have to get towed, right, to get to there, but we would not be able to do that outside.
As long as that's in writing,
Yes, ma'am.
I don't really trust promises. Handshakes don't exist in our country anymore, or anywhere, actually, which is very sad. But that is a huge issue. You also mentioned that there was no change made on the plans. Were the original plans with 7 cameras, or does it still have 4?
There was no change to the design of the plan. The camera plan was upgraded to 7 cameras to make sure that we had more than enough coverage. So that part of the security plan was changed, but the design of the facility was not.
Okay. And outside of the 486,000 roughly that goes to Tifa, and I just want to make sure I express that, what other benefits would our citizens realize?
No, I'll address this, Ollie. You've got, again, I've talked about jobs, right? And I realize that some of the gentlemen are concerned that maybe other businesses are going to suffer as a result of that, a result of competition. We're going to bring in jobs. We're going to bring in a high level of operating standards. And generally that requires others to, if you will, up their game. I think it's going to make the offering, the services to the community better. Competition never hurts, right? That's kind of what our society has, our economy has been built upon. Yes, small businesses, but competition among businesses, and some businesses grow to be bigger, right? So you've got taxes, you've got jobs, you've got dealing with a truck parking problem. And I can't overemphasize that enough. You've heard from people from the industry. You've seen photos from your own city within the last week where drivers are parked anywhere and everywhere they can find a big enough space to put their truck because they're out of hours. So the benefit of helping deal with a truck parking problem is a benefit to the city. It's a benefit to your residents because it keeps trucks where they should be instead of them going and trying to find a place to be. It helps your city's infrastructure, which saves the city money. It makes the city's streets safer, one, because there's not potholes in places that there shouldn't be, but also because there's not trucks that are maybe blocking visibility. It provides a lot of benefit to the city. And again, the operation, yes, we have fuel, but we also have a really nice food offering. No, it's not a branded restaurant. At the board's request, essentially, we removed the Subway restaurant from the offering. But our in-house food offering is very well spoken of in every place that we put it, and it's expanding as we speak, putting it into more and more places. And it's a kind of a meat and three offering, different than just than a fast food offering, right? So we try to provide a good offering of that. There's fresh food. We talked about that at the last meeting, some fresh food offerings versus something that's just, you know, fried and wrapped up or whatever the case may be. We have the convenience items. So there's a lot of benefit that comes, and it may not be exactly what you're looking for, but the benefits are still there. And it's going to help solve a problem which will lift the whole city.
So 2 more points. One, you said jobs. Is there a way to guarantee those jobs go to Romulus residents?
No, ma'am, we do not discriminate on where people are from that we hire. It's an open application process.
So it's jobs in general, not necessarily a direct benefit to the city. The other thing is you mentioned about truck problem. I think one of the commissioners already mentioned it's not really our problem to solve, and not to sound negative about it or anything, because believe me, I have truck drivers in my family, so I understand. But it's almost as if they're ticketed $30,000, that's actually a benefit to the city, because those funds come to the city. So this doesn't really sound like a negative for the city, so I wouldn't really push that one too much, because it's more of a benefit for truck drivers than it is for the citizens directly. And that's really what I'm trying to drive this for, because if you don't want pitchforks and fire flames against your facility when you're trying to get the city council, you gotta do something for the residents, because last month there were quite a few that was here, including our city council person who just passed, directly against it for a lot of different reasons. And so, as the gentleman mentioned, and my fellow commissioner, I'm not seeing that great benefit for the city as much as it is for a company. So I'm just trying to give you some guidance and just kind of where my head is. So, and again, I do have a thing for the general fund taxes versus TIFA, and knowing that there is a difference in this city when it comes to that. A lot of residents don't realize it.
Pilot can't determine where the taxes go.
Oh, I know that, but I'm saying don't necessarily use it as a flag as your definite benefit for those residents who actually know the difference. So, just put my 2 cents in since I wasn't here last month. But like I said, I did go over the information. So, but yeah, it's a problem. It needs to be solved, and we do need safety. I'm glad to see that you added the cameras, and definitely, like Commissioner McNally said, that security overnight is huge, because we need safety around here, if anything else. So I'm done, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Ms. Roscoe?
I want to say I appreciate all the work you've done in your presentation tonight. I don't see where it's going to be a benefit to the community in a whole. And as the gentleman that has the business in Belleville talked about the issues with the trucking in Canton and Taylor, because they're not allowed to build out there, and that we don't have adequate trucking parking here. It sounds like the gentleman here is helping solve that problem by developing the 23 acres he has to accommodate more trucks and so on and so forth. And as you say, that's right off of 94 and on Vining Road, easy access. Well, so is Ecorse and Inkster Road there right off of 94 and back onto 94 over there. And as you say, you can Google truckers. Unfortunately, it is not the city of Romulus' problem. The truckers cannot manage their time management and get 15 more minutes down the road. They know exactly how much time they have. Everybody has GPS. Everybody knows how much further they can get and where all these facilities are. Any experienced trucker knows where every single one of his truck stops is and how far it is from point A to point B. And if he doesn't, then unfortunately that's not our problem. If he gets stopped and now he says he can't drive another mile down the road. I just wanted to say that. I do appreciate how you've worked on security, That was a huge issue, but I still don't see where it's going to be a benefit to our community. And the community is tremendously against this situation. And unfortunately, I don't believe it's just going to solve the problem with the truckers that park where they shouldn't park in Romulus. I believe it's going to bring truckers, as the gentleman back here stated, the issues in Canton and Taylor and Belleville. It's going to bring those truckers from those cities into our city instead of, unfortunately, Belleville, Canton, Taylor having their own problems and own issues to deal with. We don't need any more problems and issues to deal with than we already have. We have a ton. We have a list that we try to deal with every single day. Unfortunately, the community is widely against us. And I'm not just saying businesses against this. Of course, you're going to have businesses against competition. I'm more concerned about what the community is saying, the residents are saying, the residents that are calling, and there has been more residents step out on this issue and on this project than I have ever had in the 8 years that I've sat on the Planning Commission, on the almost 16 years that I've been on City Council. And to me, that is an outcry of saying enough's enough and we're done. So it's nothing personal. I think you've done a great job with your presentation and trying to satisfy all our wants and needs. But unfortunately, I have to think about what the residents here are saying and what they need at this present time. And when everyone's done with their questions, then I'll make a motion.
Any more questions or comments?
Just some comments through the chair. So a lot of the issues, like I just got it all written down here random. So our police chief signed off on your security plan.
Yes, sir.
Adding the security guard is something that was not in the last presentation in November.
Correct.
So that's a huge step in the right direction to address the concerns of anything happening overnight.
Yes.
And I know things still do happen, but the security guard is a good, huge step in the right direction. The exact same things that we were concerned about in the nighttime activities at truck stop also go on at Myers, Walmart, and any other dark corner where it's allowed to happen. The security guard is a huge step in the right direction to prevent that at your location. With that said, Pilot's not responsible for anybody's criminal behavior. And the fact that it would happen on your property is not, you didn't ask for it. Same as if it's happening in, I don't know what's going on in my driveway right now. I'm hopefully nothing bad.
Hopefully.
So, and this is like I said, all random here. So I know during COVID shutdown, the truck drivers suffered greatly because even the smaller places they used to try to get to, they couldn't even get there. People were bringing them food on their freeways. And I know that for a fact because it was documented on the news. As far as the truck drivers know exactly where they're at and where they got to get and the amount of time allowed, doesn't allow for traffic backups, presidential motorcades, doesn't allow for all the things that would limit their 10 hours on the road and 8 hours off. That's huge, and if you've never had to deal with that in a lifestyle, you have no clue. All right, more stuff here. All the illegal truck parking that does happen around the city, and the one picture you showed is at Warman and Eureka and 275 there. Where are they using the bathroom? Nobody's talked about sanitation issues at illegal truck parking. So it is a great concern to the city, all the cities that have to deal with it. The fact that other cities aren't allowing gas stations, for what reason, I don't know what their mentality is on that. They're talking gas stations, not even trucks. So they don't even want cars getting gas. But they all need gas. Let's see here. So all the issues that were brought up by the gentleman here on Google about Pilot and Flying J in the last 10 years, when did Berkshire Hathaway purchase Flying J and Pilot?
The final purchase happened in January of this year.
January of this year. So all those points that were 10 years back, it does not apply to the new ownership.
Correct.
Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett.
Correct.
As far as I-94 and Ecorse Road interchange, that interchange lacks, and always has and always will, and it goes back to World War II, I imagine. If you're heading eastbound 94, you can't go west off 94 and Ecorse. Why? Beyond me. If you're westbound 94, you can't get off and go east on Ecorse. So that pre-exists, like when you bought your location, the limited access in and out of that location. It's just Ecorse or Inkster Road is 2 lanes. Ecorse Road is 2 lanes. It would be great if Wayne County would make it 4 lanes or 5 even with a turn lane to benefit your business. I totally get that. 23 acres, Wayne County is what your holdup is. It's 4 lanes in Taylor, 2 lanes in Romulus, 4 lanes in Van Buren. Explain that. It's not doable. It's open competition. You can't just say the other business can't come in because it impacts yours. I get that, but it's just the way it rolls. That's free market enterprise. Our concern here tonight is, does all this meet our criteria as far as what we're looking for in the master plan? That pie-shaped piece of property at the end of the road here, what else could possibly go in there? It's railroad tracks, a freeway, and an airport on a pie-shaped piece of property next to DST, or
DTW.
GFL, where they call themselves. It would solve a lot of the issues. Right here across the street, most mornings, I come down through town, I come up through there, I go to make my left on Wayne Road towards the freeway, I'm head-on with an 18-wheeler in the turn lane to turn into the gas station across a lane of traffic westbound. It makes, if you're gonna head west, pull in. They can't, because they can't get in because there's another truck in there. It's not adequate for any kind of truck traffic in and out of that location. It's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. To put all the trucks safely in a location right off of I-94 is beneficial to the city. Now, with that said, I would love to see, and I know why we can't, have that turn lane go down and make the right on Goddard. I know why it's Wayne County, again, so I'm not bringing that issue up. It's not your concern. The improvements that were made north to I-94 for the 1 turn lane that used to just be a turn only, 2 straight-through lanes, is a huge benefit to everybody, trucks, cars, motorcycles. With all that said, that's all my comments to the chair and to the petitioner and to anybody else that had concerns, and I understand your concerns greatly, I do. I have seen at the, if you're traveling across country and you look up the road and you go like, there's where we're gonna go stop and get gas. I've done it myself. Sheets, heading for New York last year for a wedding. You have your options. It's free market. It's the way it is.
Yes, sir.
So that's all my comments, thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? No other comments? A motion is in order.
Madam Chair,
Ms.
I'm
Rasko?
going to make a motion to deny the approval of the conditional rezoning request for RZ-2024-001 Pilot Travel Center to rezone 25.53 acres located at 10250 Vining Road.
So you're only talking about the rezoning?
Well, we have 3 motions.
Right, okay, you're taking each one
I
separate.
mean, they each have to be done separately,
Okay,
I
right,
would
okay.
imagine.
Okay.
Support.
I have a motion from Mrs. Rasko, supported by Mr. Long, to deny, excuse me, approval to City Council. For the conditional rezoning, RZ 2024-001. Correct? Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, Ms. Rasko?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
Yes.
Mr. Krova?
No.
Mr. Frederick?
No.
Mr. Gladfeldy?
No.
Mr. McAnally?
No.
Ms. Jemison?
Yes.
Chair votes no. Item fails.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
I make a motion based on the 8 facts, finding of facts that were read into the record by Mr. Kemp, to recommend to City Council approval of the conditional rezoning request for RZ 2024-001 Pilot Travel Center to rezone 25.53 acres located at 10250 Vining Road, subject to the 3 items: conditional rezoning agreement dated September 9, 2024, as amended or will be amended, special land use approval and site plan approval, subject to the revised site plan addressing all outstanding comments as noted by the Planning Commission and other agencies and departments of the ARC Committee.
So you're doing all 3?
I'm doing this rezoning right now.
Just the
Conditional
rezoning, okay. Pardon me?
Clarification on the motion that you're
Right.
including in that rezoning, conditional rezoning agreement, the new items that were raised at this meeting.
That was my intent.
Okay.
Part of that was addressing some of the outstanding
Right.
issues that Ms. Jemison brought up that'll be added to the
So,
And administration.
so could we change this where number 1 on the recommendations, conditional rezoning agreement dated September 9th, 2024, to be amended as determined through administrative review of the document prior?
based on comments made by commissioners related to the service area.
Great.
I'll support his motion.
You're going to support the motion?
Yes, I will.
I have a motion from Mr. McNally, supported by Mr. Gladfeldy, to recommend to City Council approval of SRZ 2024-001, site plan approval based on
Conditional rezoning,
conditional rezoning based on the items that were discussed here.
yes.
Any discussion? No. Mr. McAnally?
Yes.
Mr. Gladfeldy?
Yes.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Mr. Krova?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
No.
Ms. Roscoe?
No.
Ms. Jamison?
No.
Chair votes yes, motion carried. Now, are we doing all 3? No, the other 2 also.
Next, we have
Now
to
the
do
special land use.
special land use.
Okay, now we're doing special land use.
Okay, I'll make the motion to recommend to City Council approval of a special land use SLU 2024-002 Pilot Travel Center, subject to the 3 items: City Council approval of conditional rezoning and associated conditional rezoning agreement as amended for our
You could
previous,
probably just say to be amended.
to be amended. Waivers as listed, A, B, C, and D, and subject to site plan approval. Subject to revised site plan approval with all the agencies and departments. And this is based on the findings that was read into the record by Mr. Kemp previously.
I'll support that, Madam Chair.
I have a motion for Mr. McAnally, supported by Mr. Gladfeldy, to recommend to City Council, what am I doing now?
Special land use.
Special land.
Approval of the special land use SLU 2024-002. Okay. Approval of special land use Pilot Travel Center, subject to City Council approval of the conditional rezoning and associated conditional rezoning agreement dated September 9th, 2024, or as amended.
No, to be amended.
Oh, to be amended, that's
It's going
right,
to
to
be
be amended. And the 4 waivers that are listed on page 4 of the planner's report, and also site plan approval, correct?
Correct.
Approval of a revised site plan.
Revised
You need the
Revised site plan, okay.
Yep.
Revised site plan. Any discussion? Mr. McAnally?
Yes.
Mr. Gladfeldy?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
No.
Ms. Roscoe?
No.
Mr. Jameson? Mrs. Jameson, I'm sorry.
No.
It was the hat that did it. Mr. Krova?
Yes.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
I already got you, Mr. Gladfeldy, right?
Yes.
Okay. And
You vote.
chair votes yes. Motion passed. Now do we have the third one?
Finally, make a motion to approve site plan SPR 2023-029, Pilot Travel Center, subject to approval of the conditional rezoning and associated conditional rezoning agreement by the city council, approval of the special land use for a truck stop approved by city council, special land use waivers approved by the planning commission, and a revised site plan being submitted for administrative review of all outstanding items of the planning commission and other agency and departments prior to review by city council.
I second the motion.
Mr. Frederick? Okay.
Okay.
I have a motion from Mr. McAnally, supported by Mr. Frederick, to recommend to approve the site plan as followed, to be considered based on the findings in the Administrative Review Committee reports. We recommend the Planning Commission's approve the site plan for SPR 2023-029 Pilot Travel Center, subject to the following, which would be the 4 items that are listed on page 5 of the planner's report. Should I list them out or no?
I think we had it read into the record once.
Were these read into the record already?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
Again, with the only minor change on number 1, to state to be amended. The conditional
amended.
rezoning to be
Okay, number 1.
be amended.
To be amended. Okay. Mr. McAnally?
Yes.
Mr. Frederick?
Yes.
Mr. Gladfeldy?
Yes.
Mr. Krova?
Yes.
Mr. Long?
No.
Ms. Roscoe?
No.
Ms. Jamison?
No.
Chair votes yes. Motion passed. Good luck, gentlemen.
Thank you all very much for all the time you guys have put into it, as well as the staff. Thank you.
You guys have to go catch a plane now? Tomorrow morning?
Everybody get their check and leave.
Okay, continue right along. I have,
That's what's wrong with the city now. Everybody working, get a check, go home.
I have under item 8, which is new business, we don't have any. Item 9,
Bang your gavel.
okay,
Excuse me.
We still have a meeting.
we still have to finish the meeting. So if you just go out and,
Thank you.
Thank you.
okay. PC cases involving advice or input from the planning commission?
Nothing tonight?
Nothing tonight? Reports on interest designations? Do you have anything, reports on interest
I
designations?
do not. I just would like to say, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We still have a lot going on that'll come up in January. And, but anyways, everybody be safe travels, and enjoy your holidays.
Same to you.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Mr. Gladfeldt has something you'd like to say?
I have a question for Jeff.
How are we making out with the hotel over on Middlebelt with a tarp on the roof?
Tarp's still there.
Barely.
Yeah, barely.
that the new
We have been over there a couple times. They have told us that they are trying to get a roofing contractor to fix it. They were supposed to have one there this week or last week, and that still has not happened. But I will assure you that I will be having Dave go back over there for a third visit in the last 2 weeks to see what's going on.
It is such an eyesore. It's been like that for several months.
Okay.
Several months.
Going back to the meeting.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
It's not my interest designation, but January 18th, 2025, time to be determined, is the Curling Royale downtown at Mary Ann Banks Park.
Right.
Last year was a hoot. It was the best
Hopefully-
one yet.
Hopefully, because they have it in January, the weather will be better.
Correct. And
The
this
weather will be
year's,
colder.
this year's charity benefit will be Burn Camp for Kids. 3 years ago, we did it. It was 2 kids went to camp. This year, we're shooting for 4. It's a big deal. And kids get to go to
Nice.
camp for 10 days and be amongst kids that are also similarly injured. Mayor's, we had a meeting on this, and that's what we come up with.
Right.
Jerry, what's the date
I
again?
hadn't heard.
Oh,
the
January
dates on that.
18th,
Thank you.
the Curling Royale.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a hoot, and if you do show up, bring them cleats that go on your shoes. Trust me. At least one.
You have a time on it, Derek?
Not to be determined.
Okay.
Yes.
Before we continue, I'd also like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah. And who am I missing?
And Merry Christmas.
Pardon me?
Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas.
And a Merry
Merry Christmas. Oh, yeah, Merry Christmas. Okay, item 11 is communication. We have the project status report. God, I'm sorry, that's me.
Any questions on the projects?
Any questions on the status report?
Through the chair, for Carol, Rise Church, are they just about done?
They have not submitted reoccupancy, but where are they at with city cert?
They don't have all their final inspections done, but they are getting close. And then they just gotta submit for the reoccupancy, but yes, they are getting close.
So they only need, is it doors at this moment?
I think there's a couple other small items, but yes, it's they're 90% or more there.
Okay, thank you.
Were they building the parking lot now, or, okay, that's coming
That's after.
after, okay. I was gonna say the reoccupancy, I mean, we would tie it all in if we were getting a site plan in, so.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna do the parking lot until later, because they don't have the head count to even fill a third of that church right now, so,
Okay.
yeah.
Any other questions on the project report? Item B is the Michigan Association of Planning Upcoming Events.
Yes, Kayla threw in the stuff that's going to be offered next year. We strongly encourage you all to look at these classes, let us know if you're interested. The upcoming year is going to be a training year we're going to, regroup on some of the stuff. There's all sorts of new case law and stuff like that out there. Edna's been familiar with stuff coming to MAP events and whatnot, but we're even talking about having Mr. Hitchcock come in, Jessica and our planning consultants on doing some training, on some stuff. So we're pulling some of that stuff together as our, some new projects for 2025. There's one thing that we forgot to add to the agenda that you got in front of you, the City of Inkster Master Plan Update, Notice of Distribution and Comment Period, which probably when we approved the agenda up above, we should have added it, but we didn't. But anyways, you've got that for you. They're in their 63-day period. And Kevin, speaking of master plans, do you want to give them an update on what's coming up with ours?
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of you know that we've entered into a contract with Michael Baker International to do a E-course road study, with E-course road being that connectivity in between 94 and 275. We met over at their location in Dearborn. Carol joined us that day, Jeff did. We had representation across all the city departments to discuss what that looks like. And to Mr. Frederick's comments earlier, we recognize that Ecorse Road is a choke point coming across all three communities. So partnering with Chris Girdwood over at Aerotropolis, we've put together a land development funding unit, or LDFA, or authority, LDFA, across all three communities. And we have that submitted to the state right now. And basically that would capture, capture some of the taxes along Ecorse Road. No new taxes or anything like that. Captures taxes that are there. Actually through MEDC, we're allowed to capture the school funding or school operating taxes, but which the state makes whole through their budgeting process. So we capture it for incentive to develop infrastructure. The state makes the schools whole, so there's no loss to the schools either, as one of the economic development incentives through MEDC. So with those funds, we've identified widening Ecorse Road all the way across. We're starting with 3 lanes. We'd like it to be more than 3 lanes, but we're limited on the current road right-of-way across Ecorse Road and what's currently there. We looked at if we went larger than 3 lanes, and that includes a whole lot of land purchases and negotiation for property and a lot of other things. So currently across the entire frontage of Ecorse Road, in order for us to expand to 3 lanes across the entire area, there's 1 parcel that we would have to work with for land assemblage, and that's it. So we're starting there. We're also looking at low-hanging fruit as it pertains to water and sewer. If anyone's driven down Ecorse Road in between like Inkster and pretty much Wayne Road, we have a significant issue with the cattails and the phragmites in the sewer and all of that stuff. All ties into Wayne County, and participating and working with them to address all of those locations and all of those items. And then kind of layering on top of that, we also are looking at across that Ecorse Road frontage, how do we start through design and through planning, addressing the need for housing because of the jobs that are coming into the area. How do we start alleviating some of the quality of life issues that we're seeing because of transportation and stuff like that, the noise that people say they have from trucks and that come with that. So how do we start alleviating that through design with multi-use frontage across Ecorse Road, whether it's some commercial frontage with studio type locations up above, or loft type living up above, and mixed use type living, or what we can't consider the missing middle. And then as you move back into some of that land and property to unlock it in between Ecorse and Beverly, what's that look like? Is it tiered with some multifamily type housing and then tiered down to single family home and subdivision in the back? So just kind of looking at all the options that are out there. We, specifically through TIFA, we're looking at the Ecorse Road corridor and how we can start addressing some of these concerns and quality of life impacts through design, through planning, increasing the infrastructure, using TIFA dollars in the areas that we're allowed to, and looking at the big picture, right, and addressing some of these issues. So it's, as you know, with planning, it takes time, and it's a process, and we're starting to go through that process. We have some dates tentatively set aside, and Carol, do you have those dates by chance in front of you?
I might. I think they just came through.
So
They were February 6th and 7th.
Yeah, so February 6th and 7th, we'll have 2 days of study sessions and listening sessions, and one of the half days will be boards, commissions, council, invited to all of those input sessions. One of the half days in the evening will be citizens, and then on the opposite day, the morning will be citizens, and the evening will be like developers and investors and stuff like that that are looking to invest in the community, and that's all part of making sure we get good input across the board from all different aspects of the city as a whole, and then we'll compile that and start working forward. Carol and I have a meeting tomorrow with Michael Baker to kind of go through. They have to work out a master plan update, and as we're going through this process, what sections of this check the boxes that Carol needs checked for the master plan update as well. So
It's a really cool idea, kind of overlapping, this big corridor study. We're in the 5-year update time, which this kind of counts for. on the heels of this, what Inkster is doing with the notification, that's what we're gonna be working through in the next few months to get the overall document, but the Ecorse Road corridor will be a sub-area as part of it. We'll go in and, as Kevin's talking about, looking at other things, the housing, the residential side will be definitely looked at. You guys are doing a housing study.
So yeah, on
updating
top of
housing
it, we've
study.
gone back and looked at the city's housing studies in the past. There was one done in 2014, and then there was one done in 2019 by DCC, in which parts of Romulus were included. But so much has changed, as you know, with what housing looks like and what the demands and what the needs are. So we are working with MISHDA. We've applied for, they have like a $50,000, set aside per community. We've applied for that, and we'll be going through that housing study. We're gonna, Jessica Hobbs, one of the assistants in my office, is working on that. And again, same thing. We're, looking at the areas in the city that are available, whether it's through brownfield or greenfield development for residential, and how do we build those areas out? And we'll be doing individual focus study groups in those areas as well for, what do those neighborhoods want to see? What's the flavor? What's the type? What's the structure? What's the density? All of those things for those areas, and then start looking at, who our future partners are going to be to build some of these out. We talk about rooftops, we talk about jobs. We need to find a plan forward, to do it, because the reality is the cost of goods, services, and everything else, you have to be collaborative, you have to be creative to create the capital stacks that are needed to address the infrastructure and then address the actual housing itself and find a solve for all of that kind of collaboratively. So we're working on it.
It's gonna be very different than what you're used to, but it's gonna accomplish so many things, including, what we all know, the basics of master plans. You do your plan, then it leads to some zoning ordinance amendments, which Jeff has got, some good input on things that can be tweaked there. So it's gonna take off and go in a lot of different directions. I think you guys are gonna have fun with it. So be interesting anyway.
Madam Chair, I do
Thanks,
have a
Kevin.
question for the two of you. Will that be recorded?
I didn't plan on it to be, and it wasn't a discussion, but it's something that we can definitely look into. Yeah.
I mean, not to sound selfish, but I'd appreciate, I'm going to be out of town that week, so I already know that. So I'd be interested in.
We
if
can't
it's a
all be
video.
on vacation.
I wish it, well, it's kind of a vacation. I'm going to take care of my mom. It'll be her birthday, so.
Fair enough.
But yeah, so I'd appreciate if that's available.
Yeah.
Through the chair, may I?
Go ahead.
Can we get an update on the Ashley Capital over on Ecorse?
Yeah. So moving forward, as most of you know, that's a brownfield redevelopment. It was on that old landfill. So in order to build on that landfill, because of the kind of the sponginess of the ground over there, they had to drill geopiers, which is what the building sits on and the structure sits on. They just completed building one. As a matter of fact, I was talking to Jeff about this a little bit earlier. So they drilled all, I think it was 3,800. There's, I think 3,800 total geopiers for building one. They were averaging about 270 a day. I think last week they finished up with about 350 a day is where they were at. So they just finished drilling all of those, and we'll be moving on to building two and putting the piers in ground. But yeah, they're moving forward on all the all the site work, all the earth moving, all the geopiers. I think that's pretty much all that they're permitted for right now, right? They haven't submitted the building plans or anything yet, but yeah, they're moving earth.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yep.
see, it's pretty moving along over there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman,
Go ahead.
to the planner, when and if we get a final conditional rezoning agreement, can we get a copy as for your information so we can see the wording?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Yep. It's a good agreement. They worked with us, and we got some significant changes early on, but then with this latest stuff, there's definitely some stuff to fine tune, so.
Any other questions or comments from anybody? No?
And if I may, if possible, through our chair or whoever wants to lead it, can we send a bouquet of flowers for Ms. Williams? Is that possible?
Yeah, we
Take
can.
up a collection or something?
We don't know what the arrangements are yet.
We
right?
don't, we'll coordinate that.
Haven't
Yeah,
heard
thank
anything
you.
yet.
Thank you.
Yep, we're happy to, the planning department's happy to coordinate that. We'll be in touch with you also.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Oh,
Support.
right, we're still in discussion. Item 12 is adjournment.
So move.
Support.
Motion by Mr. McNally, supported by Ms. Jefferson.
Mr. doesn't matter.
Pardon me?
I said, you can call me Mr., it doesn't matter.
Well, I noticed your voice was a little lower today.
That's what I want, yeah, what motion it was.
And after I saw that ad, I didn't know which way to go.
I don't blame you.
Mr. McNally.
Yes.
Ms. Jameson.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Kova.
Yes.
Mr. Perry.
Yes.
Mr. Buckhead.
Yes.
Mr. Long.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, this meeting.
Good if it's special for